Hello, my name is Donnie Drobny. I'm the head debate coach at Bora High School. This is an introduction to judging Lincoln-Douglas debate. Lincoln-Douglas debate is an individual debate event where one debater, the affirmative, competes against the other debater, the negative. It's sometimes also called the values debate because the format traditionally places a heavy emphasis on logic, ethical values, and philosophy. Sometimes you'll see a combination of the technical aspects of policy debate with a more communication-oriented presentation. Before the round begins, there are a few things that you as a judge are responsible for. First, when you arrive at the tournament, please make sure that you check in. There should be a table managed by tab staff where you can do this. Next, you'll want to find out if there is a judges meeting. If so, you'll attend to receive some last-minute instructions. Next, we'll have ballot assignment. If your tournament is using digital ballots, you should receive your assignments via text message and email from tabroom.com. Ballots are also available on your tabroom.com dashboard. If your tournament is using physical paper ballots, someone from tab staff will bring ballot assignments along with the physical ballots into a place that is centralized for judges. Generally, this is the place where ballots are also returned. If you do not receive a ballot, either digitally or physically, please wait for all ballots to be reassigned. Next, you're going to want to find the room where you are competing. The competitors should be outside of the room waiting for you if they have arrived. There should be no debaters inside of the room when you get to your room. Once the competitors have entered the room, the first thing you should do is check to make sure that you have the correct debaters at the correct time. Check the names on your ballot against those of the competitors to be sure you have the right students. Finally, students will often ask your paradigm. If you're not sure what your paradigm is, just tell them you don't have much experience with debate and are looking forward to clear communication of ideas and complete arguments. Each round is made up of 2 flights. A single round of judging includes 2 different Lincoln-Douglas debates. During each round, the debate's format and structure will be the same, only the competitors will change. In each debate, each speaker will alternate speaking, and ultimately you will be deciding which side has more convinced you of their arguments. There are some things that you should do during the debate. You should take notes. If you're comfortable keeping a flow, then please do that. If not, you should at least take down notes of the main ideas presented by each side. You should do your best to follow along with the arguments that students are presenting, including the attacks that they are making against their opponent's arguments. You should also write feedback on the ballot. Whether this is a paper ballot or a digital ballot, feedback goes to competitors and is very valuable for their growth in this activity. While a debate is happening, you should not interrupt that debate. You should not use your cell phone unless you are using it to time or to fill out your ballot. Finally, you don't need to fact check the things that students are saying in round. Those things should be accomplished through the course of the debate. Lincoln-Douglas debate has a speech structure with 2 constructive speeches and 3 rebuttal speeches. After each constructive speech, there is a period of cross-examination. Additionally, each debater may use up to 4 minutes of prep time. We're going to go through each one of these speeches and talk a little bit about what you should look for and what it should entail. The round begins with the affirmative constructive. The affirmative constructive is 6 minutes in length and presents what's called the affirmative case. This should include a value-based framework that we're going to address on another slide, as well as presenting arguments in support of the resolution. Ideally, each of these arguments should include claims, impacts, and warrants, and they should also tie back into the framework that they are presenting. While you're listening to the affirmative constructive, you should watch for clear arguments, rehearsed reading, eye contact, logical development of ideas, and a connection to the value and the value criterion. The value-based framework is an essential part of Lincoln-Douglas debate and differentiates it from the other styles of debate. The value-based framework is composed of a value and a criterion. The value is a structural element of an LD case that identifies what the debaters believe the goal of the resolution should be and why they've selected their value premise. These are usually abstract, universally good ideas. Justice, freedom, life, these are commonly used values. The criterion, which is also sometimes called the value criterion or the standard, should act as a litmus test of the resolution. If a debater proves that their side better meets their criterion, and thus the value premise, they should win the debate. Criteria can take many forms. They will usually take on the form of either a statement or a philosophical concept. The criterion method for framing the round is to provide the judge with a way to make their decision, or how you should view the arguments in the debate. Put simply, the criterion tells the judge which arguments are the most important in that round. After each one of the constructive speeches, there will be a 3-minute cross-examination period. After the affirmative constructive, the negative will ask questions of that affirmative constructive. After the negative constructive, the affirmative gets a turn asking questions. In general, there are 3 major goals of cross-examination. First, to clarify arguments. Second, to attack. Third, to set up their own later arguments. During cross-examination, you should watch for effective questioning. You should be able to tell that there is an emergent strategy with those questions. You should also be watching how the witness answers in response to questions. Are they purposeful and decisive? Does it reveal that they know their case very well? Next, we have the negative constructive. The negative constructive is the negative debater's first opportunity to advance their own arguments. It's a 7-minute speech and should be split between the presentation of the negative case and clash with the affirmative case. Clash simply means an interaction of arguments, generally taking the form of rebuttal and refutation. While you're listening to the negative constructive, you should watch for clear arguments, effective attacks on the affirmative case, organized thinking, rehearsed reading, eye contact, logical development of the ideas, and connections to the value and the value criterion. After the negative constructive is a 3-minute cross-examination period. Following the cross-examination of the negative by the affirmative, we have the first affirmative rebuttal. The first affirmative rebuttal is 4 minutes in length, and it is responsible for both the refutation of the negative case and defense of the affirmative case. As such, it is a very challenging speech. While debaters are delivering the first affirmative rebuttal, you should be watching for good signposting. They should be telling you where they're at in the flow to help you follow along with the debate. There should be both clear attacks and also clear and strong defenses of arguments. You're going to want to watch for dropped arguments or things that are uncovered or undercovered in their refutation. Next, we have the negative rebuttal. The negative rebuttal speech is 6 minutes in length and has 3 major responsibilities. During the negative rebuttal, the negative speaker should refute the affirmative case, should defend their own case from the attacks made during the affirmative rebuttal, and the negative should provide some simple voters for the judge. Voters are reasons why the negative believes they've won the round. This negative rebuttal is the negative debater's last opportunity to speak to the judge. While the negative is delivering their rebuttal speech, you should look for good signposting, clear attacks and defenses, no dropped arguments, and clear voters. Finally, the last speech of the debate is the second affirmative rebuttal. This is a 3-minute speech, and it is the final argumentative push by the affirmative. Remember, there should be no new arguments presented in this speech, but debaters may bring up new evidence. Traditionally, the second affirmative rebuttal takes on the role of a voter speech, where the affirmative will tell you why they believe that they have won the round. You should look for clear voters, a discussion of drop points, some final impacts, and a strong connection to the value and value criterion framework. Also during the round, each debater receives 4 minutes total of prep time. Prep time is time where students get to prepare their ideas and organize their thoughts. It can be used before any of their own speeches and does not have to be used all at one time. A debater may take 30 seconds or a minute before their first rebuttal speech, and then take the remainder of their prep time later on in the debate if they so desire. While debaters are taking prep time, you should work on your ballot, write feedback to debaters, clean up your flow or your notes, and time their prep. Each debater should also time the prep time that is taken, but your timekeeping is the official log for prep. During this time, you should not talk to the debaters or leave the room. After the round comes your job as the judge to make your decision. The basis of the decision is who has won the debate. You should also give speaker points to each one of the speakers. These speaker points should be representative of their performance as a whole in the debate. Beyond simply their speaking eloquence, you should also include in your points how well the debaters articulated their arguments, how logical they were, and overall how effective they were in the debate. You should also include a reason for your decision. This is an explanation for the debaters and the tab room about why you decided the debater won. When you are finished with that, you should submit or return your ballot. Digital ballots are submitted through tabroom.com by clicking the Submit button and then confirming that you have your ballot set up the way that you want. Paper ballots are returned to the tab room, where someone should look over your ballot before they accept it. Thank you so much for judging, and if you have questions about Lincoln Douglas debate or any of the other form of debate, please reach out to your high school's debate coach, or you can email me.